What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Snowcast Sports Talk Podcast, episode 72. Joined here by my co-host, Matt. How are we doing today?
Doing good. It's a comment you made earlier. I'm just now seeing us next to each other as we're opening the podcast here. When we are in our gray shirts, we both have our beards and hair. We really do look like siblings.
We do.
We look at each other in person, and I'm like, yeah, we look alike, but it's not too much. But on this podcast, we look so much alike.
Yes. Yep. We have a brother in between us, John, who's been on the podcast, and you and John don't look anything alike, and I'm kind of like a hybrid of the two of you. So,
Yeah.
So, but yes, both of us. I just do it better. Obviously, starting with the shirt is obviously helping.
Although Billy did give me this shirt.
I did, and I think I even got you this shirt, this one. If you were cleaning that old bedroom upstairs, you must have found
Did you grab it out of there?
Oh, maybe I took it. I bought two. I bought you this shirt, and I liked it so much I bought one for myself.
I used to go running in that shirt and work out in it with Jay.
It's a good shirt.
Yeah, I see some interesting looks in Philly wearing a Giants shirt.
Yeah, that's a ballsy move. Giants or Patriots going to Philly, you're gonna get weird looks.
It's a lot of talk.
Yeah, it is for sure. We have two stories to talk about. And let's start, we'll go in chronological order. So first, it's been a little bit since we've done a podcast. It's a little bit quieter. We have the draft coming up in a few weeks, but this is like the slowest time for football. So for anyone who's sticking around and listening, first, thank you. But secondly, just bear with us as we work our way back into the season. There'll be a lot more going on once the football season actually starts. First thing though, Odell Beckham Jr. finally found a landing spot. He is a Baltimore Raven. Did not see that coming.
Me neither.
There's a lot of different ways you can look at this. Let's first look at this from Odell's point of view. Congrats on the money, big guy. $15 million for a guy who didn't play a single snap last year. He is the highest paid wide receiver in this free agency, period of this season. Isn't that crazy?
That is kind of crazy. I mean, at the end of the day, it is OBJ, but at the same time, I'll let you finish because I'll get to how I feel about the signing here in a second.
Well, from the Ravens' point of view, I think the Ravens needed to make a splash play. They needed that kind of market, they needed that splash move. And getting Odell Beckham, it looks better on paper than it'll probably actually turn out. He's a 30-year-old wide receiver with 2 ACL tears and two full recoveries. But so from Odell's point of view, I'm really happy. And if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'd be really torn because on one hand, you got me a wide receiver who, by the way, they've always been very friendly with each other, a lot of respect, especially when Beckham was on the Browns. But then on the other hand, Lamar's you won't pay me top 5 money, but you're going to pay a 30-year-old injury-prone wide receiver top-tier money in this market right now. So I don't know how Lamar's taking it. But the final bit, and then I'll let you go, is Odell did say in his press conference, he said he cannot confirm Lamar will be the quarterback for the Ravens. So, Lamar and OBJ obviously talked, and Lamar was like, I don't know if I'm coming back yet. Happy for you, but I don't know if I'm coming back. Which makes you understand Odell just wanted the money. Nothing else mattered. He didn't want to come to the Giants. He didn't want to go to the Jets. He wanted to go wherever the money was. He's already won his ring. Now he got his payday. Good for him. That's what I got to say.
Yeah, no, totally true. And it was very interesting that he said that. And I'm still under the belief that Lamar Jackson will be a Baltimore Raven next year. I do think that is going to be where
more likely now. Remember last podcast we talked about this and I said he wouldn't play. I don't know if that'll be the case now.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like the type of guy to sit out a whole season. He's going to play for the Ravens. It is interesting though that the Ravens won't pay Lamar, and part of me gets it because he hasn't finished a season, 3 seasons without getting injured. And it's was there that whole time. It's not like Tyler Huntley's actually a pretty decent backup. But if he was there in the playoffs this past year,
they could have beaten the Bengals.
They might have made it further. So I'm sure that's a huge reason as to why they're not giving him money. And it's interesting that the Ravens go out and decide to sign a injury-prone, had 2 ACL tears, 30-year-old wide receiver, but not sign Lamar Jackson because he's injury-prone. And that right there, it's interesting. That is an interesting.
But what the Ravens will say is, look, Lamar, we brought your friend. Look, we're getting you wide receivers. And Lamar's like, no, stop paying these people. I just want my money. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's like you get into an argument with your parents. Maybe you're right. Dad comes back with an Xbox to apologize. You're like, this is great. the apology was not sincere.
Yeah, they bought me off.
Yeah, like they're really trying to get me back, which at the same time, getting OBJ is kind of cool. And maybe Lamar will actually make him reconsider even playing for the Ravens more, although I do think he's playing for the Ravens.
Yeah, I hope Odell plays well. I will always love Odell. So I hope he plays well. But the Ravens situation is not like better now. Like the Lamar thing is not fixed. But the thing is, I think as we keep seeing these weeks go on, obviously there's no team super interested in Lamar. All the top teams that need a quarterback want to take the lottery pick and not have to pay it, instead of taking the proven player who is injury prone, but I mean the MVP. And you have to remember, when he was the MVP, he led the league in touchdown passes. So all those people who say he can't throw, like,
I know,
that's wild to me. Like, he can throw. Like it's not the best looking throw, but he can throw. But yeah, I just don't think that situation's totally fixed now because of signing Odell. And it would not shock me again if the Ravens are like, look, we got you this, and he's like,
well, I think it was also a response because like the Ravens were like, look at Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Lamar's like, what do you mean? And they're like, okay, OBJ, and he's like, okay, that makes more sense, but also, come on, guys.
kind of better. I mean, he's definitely got some more weapons around him, and the thing, like, Ravens fans need, or people need to remember, Ravens fans know this. Like, Mark Andrews is arguably top 2. Like, you could argue he's better than Kittle. Like, someone...
Yeah, no, I agree.
Not better than Kelsey, but if someone said to me, hey, Mark Andrews is better than George Kittle, I'd be like, let me think about that. Because Mark Andrews is a stud, and he's obviously their number 1 wide receiver. And so if you have Odell and Aguilar on both sides with Mark Andrews, that actually does look pretty good. With a quarterback, by the way, who's like very run-friendly. So now you have to bring linebackers in the box just to stop the run. So all that working together could be a recipe for success. With, by the way, John Harbaugh, who is a very underrated head coach, in my opinion. Yep. And a new offensive coordinator who, by the way, worked with Odell when Odell was on the Browns. So one of the reasons I think...
Yeah. Yes, that's right. Yeah, I did hear that. Yeah.
So all those reasons together, I think... And again, like, Odell wanted a pretty big lump sum of money, and he got it. He got $15 million guaranteed for 1 year, with $18 million in incentives, like $3 more million in incentives. Yeah, I can tell you the Giants offered him nothing close to that, and neither were the Jets. And I'm not going to lie, Aaron Rodgers on the Jets sounds fun, but they're still the Jets, so just be wary of that.
No, I completely agree about that. It is interesting that the Jets weren't maybe offering more. I don't know, maybe it isn't.
The Jets have a lot of weapons, though, man. They got a lot of weapons.
They do. They're looking really good right now, not to mention they have a lot of rookies who are incredible.
Yep.
But is this Aaron Rodgers thing? And I think it is, but just for the sake of the podcast and the question, is it 100% set in stone?
No.
It's not.
No, none of it is. Aaron Rodgers could very easily be a Packer next year.
Yeah, like I think he'll play for the Jets. I think they will make something will happen before the draft because the Packers are going to need to know that. You know, they're going to need to know before the draft if they are getting rid of Aaron Rodgers or not. So something should happen before the draft. I just don't know what it's going to be. I think it's Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, though.
Yeah, they're playing a game of chicken because obviously the Jets don't want to give up a first-round pick for Aaron Rodgers, and the Packers are like, you're going to have to give up a first-round pick. And the Jets are like, he doesn't even want to play for you. He hates you guys, and you owe him $60 million. We'll just, like, the Jets are not going to bend, and I wouldn't if I were the Jets. Even though I think a first-round pick is fair for Aaron Rodgers, don't bend. Do not bend. So we'll see what happens, but I'm very happy for Odell. I don't think the Lamar thing is fixed, but I just don't know where Lamar would play. I don't think any team's going to give up 2 first-round picks and pay him $200 million. I just don't see that happening. For a guy who, by the way, I'm going to say this, Lamar has acted insanely stupid on Twitter before. He's argued with a bunch of plebs and then had to delete the tweet and look really silly doing it. He grabbed that poster in Tampa Bay and, like, to pay Lamar. He's adding more attention to himself than he should. Even though he deserves the money, you have to understand executives are going to look at that and say, there's no way we're paying that guy $200 million and giving 2 first-round picks.
No, I mean, that's totally fair. And I can't really speak to a lot of the social media stuff because in all honesty, I don't really know a whole lot about that stuff. But him grabbing the poster and stuff, I can at least, I feel like, defend it a little bit, because you have to back yourself getting paid. If they could keep franchise tagging him and he could just lie down and just take it and take it and take it, eventually you have to just be like, no, I'm not going to do that to you guys anymore. And
that's fair. That's fair.
Because you got to back yourself. You got to have a backbone in this, or you're gonna get screwed.
But then you got to get an agent who would represent you correctly and get the deal done, and not go in there with your
Mama Jackson. What do you mean? No,
yeah, go in there with your mom and hear the franchise say you're an injury-prone quarterback who misbehaves on social media platforms, and we don't like that. And that's what he heard. And now he's
we know
pissed.
Anything about moms, the moms instantly just pull.
Oh my god! And so it just the whole thing was set, but. No one will care about this advice, but I'm going to give it anyway. If you are a professional sports player, get an agent. They do this for a reason. It's not for the agents to make money, it's to protect the players. So I think Lamar's handled a lot of this stuff very poorly, but I still blame the Ravens. I mean, the guy won you a playoff game and an MVP, and all Daniel Jones had to do for me was win a playoff game, and I was like, sign him.
Yeah, so, and they did instantly, which we'll get to in just a second here.
So let's jump to it.
Yeah.
So I think this Monday, I think it's tomorrow, the 17th, voluntary training camps start for some teams. I don't know how that gets determined, but basically what that means is players can show up to the facility and start training as a team. Saquon Barkley has not signed his tag yet, so he will not be showing up. And then Dexter Lawrence, who was our best defensive lineman, will not show up either because he's in contract discussions with the Giants as well.
What type of contract discussions? Does he want more money?
Yeah, he wants an extension. You know, it's
is that the only type of contract discussion? Give me more money.
Yeah, well, the contract discussion is, hey, I had the best year of my career last year. What are we gonna do here? Like, I want to set myself up for sustained, security, and how do I do that? And the problem with Barkley is the running back market is. There's so many points to this. There's so many points, and I just want to make sure, like, I say it all correctly. The Giants should absolutely not sign Barkley to an overpaid extension. I love me some Saquon Barkley, but living in New England and seeing what the Patriots have done with running backs, Matthew, you don't need the best running back in the world to have an effective running game. And I love Saquon. I love him. And he was a huge reason we won games last year. He carried the team at times. I get that. But if he wants to make $14 million a year for the next 3 years, there's no way. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. And that's where they're at. And the problem is Shane gave an extension offer to him. Saquon didn't take it. And then if you look at the running back market, no one's making over really $10 million a year on average besides Christian McCaffrey. And the tag is $10.1 million. And so the Giants are like, no, just play on the tag. And Saquon's like, no, I'm not going to sign it. Screw you. And that's where we are. And so, as last week I said, the Patriots are starting to look like a clown show. If Joe Shane and Brian Dable don't figure this out, this could start to look bad.
Yeah, it's totally true. And just the whole Ezekiel Elliott situation.
That's why you can't sign him.
It showed everybody that it's not a great idea. But at the same time, from a running back's point of view, they're hearing all this like, wait a minute, I'm out there every day working, running, getting hit.
It's like, Matthew, it's like being in a car accident 20 times a day. That's what it's like running into the line. It's a car accident 20 times a day.
You should hear, there's some great Pat McAfee and other interviews where they talk about, NFL players talk about the punter getting tackled and how it is their favorite thing. Yeah. Because it's just, it's what it's like every play for everyone else.
Yeah.
But no, it's just, I get why running backs, like, they're hearing all this and they're like, all right, so now everyone's it's just going to pay us less than anyone else. Like,
look at Austin Eckler. He wants to get traded too because the Chargers won't pay him more. He signed a contract, but he's looking at it and he's like, I scored 20 touchdowns last year. Like, what's going on? Keep going.
Yeah, no, and this is where the business side comes in, the NFL is a business, as much as I want to sit here and be like, oh, Saquon Barkley is an amazing player and deserves to get paid a little bit more potentially because he's so talented, and so does what was the name you got?
Austin Eckler.
Austin Eckler. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Yeah, or Austin Eckler. But it's a business. It's not going to pan out. It's not going to work. And as much as I feel for the running backs of this, you just have to look at it because they have to make money. It has to work.
The problem is the running back and man, if I had a son and he was playing football, running back would be the last position I have him play, because you really don't. There's no reward for it. And Saquon's looking at this, and again, I can't blame Saquon. He looks at it and he says, "This is probably the one payday I'll get in my career."
Yeah.
Like the one big payday. Let's say he gets signed for 3 years. After that, it's just going to be 1 year deals till he can't play anymore. Matthew, Ezekiel Elliott got cut by the Cowboys. No one has signed him yet.
Yeah. I've been waiting to see who's going to sign him.
Ezekiel, he led the league in rushing his first 3 years in the NFL.
That's crazy. It's just crazy.
And then
it's where we are in the NFL today.
But it's just these young running backs. They come out with a spark up their ass, and they play amazing. But then, Saquon, I love him. This was his first full season he's played in the last 3 years. And now you're telling me you want to make, and I think Saquon initially wanted 15, which is a little bit below C-Mac. I think C-Mac makes 16 a year. But then Saquon probably came down to 13, and Joe Shane's looking at the market, the GM for the Giants, and he's like, no. He's like, I'll pay you 9.5 or 10 a year, or you can play on the tag. And now Saquon hasn't signed the tag. And one of the reasons is players don't go to these voluntary camps because they don't want to get injured. They want to just stay healthy. But it just doesn't look good for the team. I'm one of those people, and I know you can poke hole. Like, the conversation is like, should players show up to voluntary camps? And I would argue most winning teams, the players show up. So now, the other thing in Saquon's defense, though, Saquon's been practicing with Daniel Jones, Darren Waller, Paris Campbell, like Isaiah Hodgins, all of the Giants players have been practicing together out in Arizona. And Saquon's been there. So this tells me Saquon's not going to protect his body. He's going to make a point like, hey, I want my extension. So
yeah, he wants to play for the Giants. He wants the Giants to pay him more money. I think he's fully invested. He doesn't want to leave the team. He doesn't want a jerk about it. He just wants more money. Which I mean, I agree with you. And it's the whole, like, you can't not look at the Ezekiel Elliott situation. Like, it just is the definition of why you shouldn't. It's just not worth it.
It's just not worth it. And I'm just going to say this. The Giants have a pick at 25. I mean, do you just let Saquon walk, or do you trade him, or like, what do you do? Like, you just say, hey, we want to keep you, but it's a business, man. You only have 200-something million to spend on your team. And, Saquon's looking over at Daniel Jones, who just got this huge payday. And he's like, whoa. I'm arguably more productive than Daniel Jones is. And that leads me to a point here. Daniel Jones needs to step it up next year, because now Daniel Jones has got the money that top quarterbacks have. You can't rely on a Saquon. Patrick Mahomes doesn't need a good running back. Jalen Hurts doesn't need a good running back. Josh Allen doesn't need a good running back. Joe Burrow doesn't need a good running back. Like, these guys win games they put the game on their shoulders. And Daniel Jones has always been better when he's had Saquon behind him, and rightfully so. But Daniel Jones now, Saquon might not be here. I hope he is, and I would bet he is, but it makes me think, all right, DJ, you got your money, and now we can't allocate it towards Saquon. So what do we do?
Yeah, no, and going back to all those quarterbacks, and something that just is important but is a little off topic, but it's something the Giants and the Patriots are still missing, is you listed all those quarterbacks, and all of those quarterbacks have a wide receiver one who is a clutch guy. I mean, you just look at Josh Allen without Stephon Diggs, and you're like, oh, yeah. As a quarterback, you need a Stephon Diggs to be a guy.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's something the Giants, they can't just rely all that on DJ right there. Although, DJ does need to step it up. They need to give him a wide receiver. And I can say the same thing about the Patriots right now. Mac Jones needs to step it up. They need to give him a wide receiver.
Yep. No, that's what makes Patrick Mahomes so special. He lost his best wide receiver, was the MVP, and won the Super Bowl. Like, he's clearly the best. You can't...
I know. I hate it, but yeah, he's the best.
He's the best. It's not close. It's actually not close. Like, if you took Jamar Chase away from Joe Burrow, I think Joe Burrow would be a very different player.
Hey, but something that is true, Jamar Chase was out for 6 weeks, and the Bengals looked great.
It's true. They also have T. Higgins and Boyd. But, and so the final thing about the Giants here is, they have a pick at 25, and I really hope the Giants take a wide receiver. That's what I would love to do. But also, you could take a center, or you could take a running back. But the thing is, it's a 1-year deal, and I get that's why Barkley doesn't like it, because he's like, man, what if I get hurt? This is the rest of my life. But it's like it's a $10 million deal. That's higher than the average for running backs in the NFL right now. So it's not like the cap is or the whatever it is that he's on. The tag is low. But yeah, it's a tough situation. I just want Joe Schoen to stand firm on this one and be like, hey, we love you. We want you here. But there has to be, like, we can't pay you $14 million. We're sorry. They said, and I'm sure Joe Schoen said, hey, play on the tag. And if you have another great year, then we'll work something out.
Right, yeah.
So it's tough. I don't know if I have anything else to... It's discouraging. I really wish they were all showing up. And I listened to like a clip from a podcast right here. I forget what it was called, but it's like some of the Giants players... No, I don't even want to say it. It's so tough. It's so tough, you know. I feel like players get a really bad rap because there's a salary cap. When they fight for money, it's always like, oh, they're not a team player. But it's just they care about their families. You know, they have a wife and kids, and
right. That's why I'm saying about the whole Lamar thing and grabbing the sign. It's like at the end of the day, you have to stand up for yourself and force that payday in a sense. Because the franchise is going to look at the business side of it and just be like, ah.
And they have to. The franchise has to do what they're doing, and the players have to do what they're doing.
Yeah, no, and they have to. But I want to ask you a quick question because a while ago on this podcast, we talked about who deserves a payday more, Saquon Barkley or Daniel Jones. And now that we've seen what has happened, Daniel Jones got it, and Saquon Barkley is now. I don't think he's upset Daniel Jones got paid, but I think he does want more money, as we know. How do you feel about what you said now looking at what happened? Because we both said give DJ the money. Because DJ, I mean, didn't he lead the league in third down conversions? Or was he like
he led the league in fourth quarter comebacks to win the game.
Fourth quarter comebacks.
Like winning drives to go win the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm happy. I'm a person, so there's this theory, it's called positional value. Positional value tells you never draft a running back number 2 overall in the draft, no matter how special they are. Because the position only lasts for about 4 or 5 years. Positional value tells you a cornerback is more valuable than a safety, because wide receivers are so good that you need a good cornerback. Safeties you can find and replace easier. Positional value tells you a left tackle is better than a center because the left tackle is protecting the quarterback's blind side and is always against the edge rusher. Some people don't believe in this. They just say it's called BPA, best player available. So like Dave Gettleman looked at Saquon, number 2 overall, and said Saquon's better than Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold. He's better. Is the position value higher? No, but Saquon is a better player, best player available. You can go either way, but the reason I'm saying all this is you pay Daniel Jones because the quarterback is the most important position on the field, and there was nothing else the Giants could do. And Daniel Jones did everything I asked to. He had the lowest turnover percentage ratio out of anyone in the NFL. Led the league in fourth quarter winning drives, and carried that Vikings game. Saquon had a good game, but Daniel Jones on his legs and through the air carried that game. Mm-hmm. He did everything I needed, and Saquon was more important in the beginning of the season, then kind of declined, Daniel Jones kind of like had an incline. He was getting better. So I am happy we paid DJ, but it just sucks because Saquon, I just love Saquon so much as a person. I love him as a Giants fan. I love him as a competitor. Like, I love just everything about him. He's perfect. Like, he's a great leader. He's a great player. He sets a great example. I love him. It's just the position he plays, he gets boned. And that sucks, but I'm still happy they paid DJ because there was no better option. And the final point is we don't know how good Daniel Jones is. Daniel Jones was with crappy coaches and crappy coordinators for so long. 1 year under a decent head coach and a decent coordinator with not many wide receiving weapons, an okay offensive line and Saquon Barkley, massive improvement.
Sorry, I'm just chuckling because it does just sound like John always says the Giants and the Patriots are so similar. With a good system, Mac Jones goes to the playoffs, although gets blown out by Buffalo. For different reasons, though. That was a revenge game by Buffalo.
Oh, they came in with a...
Yeah, they were like, we need to kill the Patriots. He did that. And I can respect it in a sense because we dominated for years. But no, it just made me chuckle because this is just a similar conversation in a sense.
Yeah.
The conversations you're having about the Giants because Daniel Jones is entering his 4th or 5th year?
Fifth.
the second Mac starts doing that, the conversations are going to be the same. Everyone's going to start. Do we keep Mac? You know, he didn't look great one year, but we brought him into a better system. Hopefully, he's looking better.
Yep, it's the same story both ways.
Yep.
So I think Barkley will play for the Giants and eventually will sign the tag, but he's just not going to till he has to. And more power to him, but I think the final thing is Giants fans shouldn't freak out about Dexter Lawrence or Saquon. It's just contract negotiations. This is what happens. We have to have faith in Joe Schoen. You know, you're going to lose good players. You need to supplement that in the draft and free agency. So we'll see what happens, but I am happy we kept Jones. I have a lot of faith in DJ after what I saw last year, so it's tough.
What would you say is the chance he goes to another team?
Saquon?
What chance? Yeah.
It's tough because I don't want to say something incorrect here, but let's say he doesn't sign the tag. I think he's a free agent, but I don't know. I don't know how that works. The Giants, it might be the Giants can trade him. And if you get the right trade value, but I think Saquon's such an integral piece to that offense, not just as a player, but as like a person. And so I think he plays with the Giants next year, but I just don't know if they can. I don't know if Saquon can walk. I think the Giants would have to trade him, and someone would want to trade for him. Just like Lamar Jackson or Ezekiel Elliott, I don't know if the market for Barkley is very high. In fact, Barkley might be testing out the market right now and might not be getting what he wants. So
it could be what he's trying to see. He's like, I wonder if I can get a better deal from someone.
To take it back to the Ravens, that's what they're doing with Lamar. They signed Lamar to the non-exclusive tag, which means any team can try to sign Lamar, and then the Ravens can match it. And the Ravens said, get another team to sign you, and we'll match whatever they're going to do it. No team's doing it.
Yeah.
So that's what the Giants will do with Barkley, which really screws over the players. But for the team, it's what you have to do. I have to side with Joe Schoen. I want the Giants to win football games, and you don't win football games by overpaying a running back. I don't care who it is, why, or anything else. That's just the truth about football right now. It sucks. Yeah. The truth sucks. Sorry.
Yeah. And you don't win football games by trading Lamar Jackson.
No, you don't. But you know, if you trade for the number 2 pick with like the
that's true. The Texans.
With the Texans.
Yeah, that is an interesting one. Or I mean, the one that I keep hearing is the Colts, and then the Ravens get Will Levis, which like that right there.
Will Levis is a weirdo, dude. Have you seen the videos? He eats like a banana without peeling the skin off.
Oh.
Really weird. Yeah, and then he puts mayonnaise in his coffee.
He sounds like an XFL quarterback already.
He sounds like a jackass. Yeah, and he's like this really fit looking white kid, and he just like he got like a 6-pack. He's just like munching on a banana. It's like he has a big arm, and that's basically all he has going for him. But just finally with Saquon, I love Saquon. I hope he stays, but I have to side with Joe Schoen. That is it.
Makes sense.
With that, we have the draft coming up in a few weeks, so we'll have something to look forward to. Any closing thoughts, Matt? Anything you want to add here before we close it down?
No, other than we should definitely talk about the draft soon. Definitely meet and talk about that soon, just because it's going to be interesting. I think there's going to be one bold move that happens during this draft we're not expecting, and I don't know if it's going to be something with Lamar or something with Aaron Rodgers, but it's going to be something.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I just haven't paid a lot of attention to the draft because the Giants are picking at 25. Like last year, the Giants picked at 5 and 7.
I remember. Billy, I remember you talked a lot about it.
And I still can't believe we got the 2 players I wanted, Kayvon and Evan Neal, which Evan Neal didn't have a great rookie year, but he'll be good. I'm pretty confident, and Kayvon's going to take over the league. That's my favorite player. But yeah, I just haven't been following the draft as much this year. The Giants, you know, this is the blessing and the curse of being a playoff football team. The draft is nothing. It means nothing.
Well, yeah, no, and the draft for me is just a tiny bit more interesting because there is talks about the Patriots trying to trade up, maybe grabbing a quarterback. I keep on hearing an Anthony Richardson conversation, which I do not think is a reality. Again, I've said it like so many times. Mac Jones will be our quarterback moving forward and potentially for the next many years, in my opinion. Do you think that's a reality? I don't to trade him or do anything with him.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting.
Yep.
With that note, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Appreciate Matthew being here as always. His links will be down below. Please be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.